Welcome to the SAFeTy Chronicles, exploring how to keep people and pets safe from the cycle of interpersonal violence. I am your host, Allie Phillips, founder and CEO of Sheltering Animals and Families Together, the SAFeTy Program, a nonprofit organization working with domestic violence shelters to eliminate the pet housing barrier to safety. As the founder, I have led the global movement in helping domestic violence shelters create on-site pet housing while elevating the criminal justice response to how animal abuse links to crimes against people. I am a former prosecuting attorney, internationally recognized legal expert and public speaker, award-winning author, and advocate for protecting vulnerable victims. In this podcast, we will explore how and why animals are harmed in the cycle of family violence and the human-animal bond that keeps victims in harm's way with their pets. Guest speakers and I will share strategies for shelters and professionals working to safeguard survivors, why pet-inclusive sheltering is life-saving, and safety tips for those who need help. None of the content will be graphic. If you are in harm's way, please contact your nearest domestic violence shelter or call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the next episode of the podcast. And we are going deeper into our wellness and empowerment series. So today I want to talk about tips on how you can shift your mindset into motivation. Oh my gosh, motivation seems to be where people get stuck. So when you have survived an abusive relationship, or maybe you're still in the relationship because it's not safe to leave yet, or you are in a difficult work environment, or you're just in a really stressful life situation, it can be very challenging to get motivated to change your life. It can be so easy to get stuck in where you are and believe that that's all that there is. I am here to tell you there's more. There's far more to life. So we live in a stressful, distracted, information overload world, all of which can smother our motivation. So if you struggle with motivation, you're not alone, and I totally get it. So did you know that motivation does not come from outside of you? It comes from within you. So there is actually nothing that I can say to motivate you. Motivation is self-motivation. So here, let me break it down. Motivation comes from a thought that you created in your mind. That thought then creates a feeling. So you have a feeling about the thought. From the feeling, it creates an action or non-action, which then creates a result. Maybe the thought was, I don't know what step to take next, which created the feeling of discouragement, defeat, or shame, which created the action of non-action. And the result was not taking any step toward the life that you want. And then you declare, I have no motivation. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But it all started with that thought. I don't know what step to take. I love to give my clients and my students the example of listening to a motivational speaker. Okay, Tony Robbins is a tremendous motivational speaker. You get so ramped up with excited energy that you walk out believing, I'm gonna crush my goal. I got this. I'm gonna make this happen. And you are totally on fire. And then the next day you are back to your normal life and habits, lacking motivation, not doing the things, having the thoughts that nothing is getting done, and that goal that you were going to achieve is sitting in a box labeled unmotivated. So what happened? Whether it's a motivational speaker, a blog post, a podcast, or a movie that motivates you, the motivating energy in that moment is coming from someone else. It is coming from outside of you. And when that person is gone or that moment is gone, it is difficult and sometimes outright impossible to sustain that motivated energy because it was not your energy to begin with. It was someone else's. It is this energy that causes us to follow people on social media, to listen to their podcasts, so that the person's motivational energy is in our daily lives. But that's not sustainable. Okay, it's not sustainable. Motivation must be a fire that comes from within you. This is why self-motivation is the goal. Otherwise, you will not be able to sustain it. And when things get tough, you really won't be able to sustain it. So what can you do to self-motivate? To have the safe life that you want, to have a healthy relationship, to have a healthy career, whatever it is that you want that you're not taking the steps toward. Okay, here are some things that have helped me over the years. Number one, change your thought about being unmotivated. Don't ever say, I am unmotivated. Don't ever speak out loud, I don't have motivation. I learned this process of breaking down a block, a motivational block, from one of my amazing business coaches, and it really works. So instead of having the thought that you are unmotivated, what if you changed it to, I know one step I can take? Because there's always one step that you can take. That creates a feeling of empowerment, right? And a focus to take action, to just do that one thing. So you have the thought, I know one step that I can take. What feeling does it create? Empowerment. And when you're empowered, you take action. And then from that action, what is the result? You feel good and joyful for taking the step. You may not be at the end goal, but you took a step. And then you do it again. I know another step I can take. And I know it works because I felt empowered, and now I feel empowered to do it again. So I'm going to take the action, and the result is I took another step. And it may be 100 steps that you need to take to get to where you want to be. Maybe it's 5 steps. Each step is important. And you do it over and over again. And here's the thing. You can change your thoughts at any time because you're in control of your thoughts. Talk about being empowered. You are in charge of your thoughts. You just have to decide to do it. And that's number 2, make a decision and commit that you will take daily steps toward your goal. So for any goal, there's usually a few steps that must be taken daily, and it's going to compound on itself. Write those down, put them in a place where you're going to see them, and then do them. Create the thought, I have a step that I need to take today. You're going to feel empowered. You're going to do it. And from that empowerment, you're going to feel great and you're going to want to do it again. When you take steps based on how you are feeling or whether you have time in your schedule, it's easy to make excuses and not take the steps. It's easy to say, oh, but work got in the way. Life got in the way. I got to tell you, that drives me bananas. What do you mean life got in the way? It's your life. You're in control of your life. And if you don't believe that, go back and listen to my first podcast in this series about empowerment. You are in control of your life. When you decide, you will take the steps even if you don't feel your best or you have limited time. Commit to daily action. Make that decision because it's going to compound and you will find the momentum. And it will keep you excited. It will keep the inner fire going in your belly. And that, my friend, is motivation. Number 3, there's a couple of books that have been written by Simon Sinek called Find Your Why. Do not worry if you have not found your why, because when you find the why that fuels the goal, that you have, it doesn't matter what's going on in your world or the world around you, you will do the stuff to make it happen. But if you haven't found your why, you can still be motivated into action. Okay? Because the why, yes, it's important, but it's not the be all and end all to achieving what you want in your life. Okay? There's a lot of goals that I have successfully achieved without even thinking about the why. I just did it because I took action every day. I just made that a part of my daily life. I just took the action. Okay? So don't worry if you don't know why you want something, but I'll tell you, if you know why, like really truly dig down and find the why, you will be motivated. Number 4, focus on what brings you joy. I've mentioned this in several of the podcasts so far. Because when you enjoy the steps that you need to take, that's going to light a fire in you and you're going to keep doing it because it's joyful. Our brain is hardwired to enjoy joy. And when you have that joy, it's going to light a fire in you, and that self-motivation lit from within, even when you haven't found your why, it's going to keep you going. Find the joy in the steps toward your goal. You don't need the joy in the end result. Find the joy in the steps and do those every day. Let me give you an example. So I recently moved to Lake Michigan from the mid-Michigan area. And for 3 years, I had a real estate agent and I struggled to find the right house. And I was getting frustrated at the end goal. But what I enjoyed was the 90-minute drive here, knowing I was going to be at the lake, I was going to go to my favorite coffee shop and do some work, I was going to go to my favorite lunch place, I was going to walk the beach. Even in the winter, I was going to enjoy this area. The steps brought me joy. I loved driving around and looking at different neighborhoods. There's a lot of little towns in this area. Getting to know them, getting to know people. It was the joy in the process that ultimately got me to the end goal. That's why you got to focus on the joy of the steps that get you there. Okay? Number 5, change your words. Don't ever say that you're unmotivated. Don't ever say that. Don't ever criticize or shame yourself for not being motivated. You're being really hard on yourself, and that is going to throw water on the inner fire, and it's going to extinguish your motivation. Speak life into your goals. Speak excitement into your goals. Speak excitement just into yourself. Stop yourself every time you say, I'm not motivated. And change it to, I am taking a step toward my goal every day, every week. Encourage yourself with positive words because words have an energy. Okay, place your hand on your throat right now, and I want you to say out loud, I am taking a step toward my goal today. Did you feel the vibration in your throat when you said that? Words send out vibrational energy. Okay? Be mindful of this. Put words and energy out of what you want and not what you don't want. All right. You know how I love my essential oils. Take a whiff. Citrus oils are amazing to calm the mind and focus it at the same time. Lemon, orange, lime. If your mind is bouncing all over the place and cannot settle down to figure out the next step, it's going to impact your motivation. Orange, lemon, lime, tangerine, even bergamot can calm the bouncing mind so that you can focus. Okay? When you smell an oil, it bypasses all body systems. It goes right through the olfactory system into the brain. Bam! Just like that. Okay? Smell your oils to focus. Number 7, you know I love my crystals. Did I tell you I'm an advanced crystal master teacher? I have 2 crystal certifications and I studied from a science teacher. My attorney brain loves that. And I teach the science of how crystals really work, which then explains all the metaphysical information. So I teach crystal classes, so you can go to manifestedharmony.com and check them out. But I love crystals. I have about 500 pounds of crystals in my house. And there are crystals like carnelian or citrine or clear quartz that are self-motivation crystals. When I am working on something and I need to stay very motivated and very focused, I put them in the back of my chair. I literally sit on them. I put them in my pocket. Okay. I have them on my desk. Just have them on you. These have a vibrational frequency to them, and they're going to change your frequency. That's a whole nother podcast, but I explain it in my crystal classes. And then last but not least, stop seeking motivation outside of yourself. Okay, when you are not motivated, you do not need another book. You don't need another training. You don't need another pep talk. You do not need to waste time scrolling through social media looking for a motivational hit, which is called a dopamine hit. You don't need another "you can do it" post. Those will give you short-term boost in motivation because they are built on somebody else's motivation, not yours. When you can focus on motivating yourself with all the suggestions that I just gave you, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish one tiny step at a time. Okay? When things are going wrong, it's really easy to get stuck and think that that's all that life is, that that's all that what you deserve. If you believe that you deserve nothing more, do all these things that I'm talking about. They're going to empower you. Because when you're stuck, the antidote is lighting that fire inside of you. And that, my friends, is motivation. And your life will dramatically change. All right, I hope you liked this. Please comment below. Tell me what you think. Thanks again. Come back for the next Wellness and Empowerment podcast. If you are in harm's way and need help, please visit the Pet Inclusive Shelter listing at SAFeTyProgram.org. Call your nearest domestic violence shelter or call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Want to support our efforts and help us keep the Safety Startup Manual free for domestic violence shelters? Consider donating at SAFeTyProgram.org/donate. Your donation saves lives.